Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Looks like I'm going to have to do another Trump impeachment circus update. I did one only yesterday. Well, yesterday for me. I recorded this on Friday. You're watching this on Monday, so it's a weekend ago for you. But for me, it feels like only yesterday, because for me it was only yesterday that I did one of these Trump impeachment circus updates. So first of all, well, it amuses me personally to see Nancy Pelosi stand up in front of the American people and in the most somber, regretful, according to her own characterization, tones, announce her request that the Judiciary Committee draft articles of impeachment for Donald Trump. I mean, talk about crocodile tears. But what amuses me the most is the gravity that she and her Democratic colleagues in the House and in the press are trying to attach to an event that people don't care about. That is what is really missing. I remember the Watergate hearings. I'm old enough to have lived through the Watergate hearings, and of course I would expect more of you to have lived through the Clinton impeachment. They were both riveting nationwide news. The public was glued to events. You had something that, well, you had facts that people agreed on. You had the Watergate break-in, and then you had the Monica Lewinsky blue dress. You had the lying under oath to a federal judge, Susan Weber Wright. Here, you have no agreement on the facts, and you have, most important, you have, well, everybody knows that this is just a partisan hit job on Donald Trump. Nobody is paying attention, but our Democratic friends are treating it with such seriousness. They're treating it as if the public is as obsessed with, well, the public is obsessed with Donald Trump. He's in the news more than any president I can recall in my lifetime. Every word he says, the press just hangs on it. He sells more newspapers than any public figure that I can think of. But getting back to this implied seriousness, I'm going to show you a table here. This is from 9 o'clock this morning, Friday, December 6th, when I'm recording this. This is from the New York Times. This is from the liberal New York Times. These are the 5 most read stories on the New York Times website. So let's go through the list here. Let's see what they are. Number 1, all 3 aboard guard helicopter for maintenance flight die in crash. Number 2, Hartman, Treadwell's second chance with Vikings is paying off. In other words, sports news. 3rd, another sports item. Pineda gets new deal with Twins, must complete drug suspension. Number 4, forgive me if I laugh. Number 4, should I turn off the circuit breaker to my AC for the winter? And number 5, chase with stolen UPS truck ends with shootout, 4 dead. So what is the significance of those 5 items? None of them have anything to do with impeachment, number 1. Number 2, these to me are minor stories there, unless you're a sports fan. And forgive me, by the way, Mr. Pineda, if I mispronounce your name. As I have said in the past, I read more than listen, so I'm just reading your name. I could be pronouncing it wrong. Don't put any stuff in the comments section, please, about mispronouncing names. I just gave you my mea culpa, talking about mispronouncing something. Mea. Okay, I'm going to say mea. But all of those items, should I turn off the circuit breaker to my AC for the winter, is more important to liberal New York Times readers than this whole impeachment, what I call impeachment circus. This is how important impeachment is to the New York Times liberal readership. So imagine how important, or let's say unimportant, it is to the rest of us. Definitely including me. The second item, put the headline up there, former Obama official floats impeaching Trump again if he's acquitted. So, well, it just echoes their attitude towards the election. 3 years after Trump was elected, you have Democrats who still will not accept that Trump won the election, that Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. They still won't accept that, and it looks like we have some Democrats who are telling us in advance that if the House sends articles of impeachment over to the Senate, and if the Senate holds a trial, and if the Senate acquits Donald Trump, well, they'll just try again. They'll just have another trial if they ever take over the Senate. So if they win the Senate in 2020, conceivably they could hold another trial of Donald Trump. If the Democrats are able to control the Senate in the 2022 midterm elections, and there will be another trial. That's three, count them, three trials. And this official is saying that the rules of double jeopardy that would apply under the Constitution in a criminal trial, that prohibition does not apply in an impeachment. So the House would not have to hold hearings again. The House would not have to do any new investigation. They could just send over again, or maybe they don't even have to send over again the very same articles that they sent over the first time. Maybe just the Senate just has to pick up where they left off and just try to remove Trump from office 2 more times. Can you imagine that? So that's how obsessed they are, or that's how much they hate Donald Trump. That's how obsessed they are with driving him out of office, with delegitimizing him instead of leaving it up to we, the people. Remember, I was speculating in yesterday's impeachment circus update that, well, I had reminded everybody that when it came to voting for this impeachment so-called inquiry in the House, that all the Republicans voted against it, but also 2 Democrats voted with the Republicans. And I had speculated on what it would mean if the House held a vote to send over articles of impeachment to the Senate, and more than 2 Democrats joined the Republicans to vote against that. What would it mean? What would it mean if, after holding all these hearings, that the move to actually send over articles of impeachment got fewer Democratic votes? What would that mean? Well, it looks like we may be about to find out, because, well, here's this headline. Breaking. Rats flee Pelosi's sinking ship. 3 Democrats already signal no vote on Sham impeachment, only 14 to go to shut it down. Well, let's hope for the additional 14 votes to keep this from even going to the Senate. But this is, well, let me just give you some quotes here. 2 House Democrats who represent Trump districts voted against formalizing the House impeachment probe back in October. That's what I was talking about a second ago. Jeff Van Drew, 66, a freshman who represents New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District, and Colin Peterson of Minnesota, 75, a conservative Democrat who represents Minnesota's 7th District, were the only 2 lawmakers from either party to cross the aisle to vote against the impeachment inquiry, as I just said a second ago. On Thursday, Michigan Democrat Dan Kildee signaled he may abandon Pelosi's sinking ship. Kildee said his constituents would prefer Congress to focus on, quote, kitchen table, unquote, issues rather than impeaching President Donald Trump. So first, quick aside, as you may know, I was born in Michigan, my home state. I miss it. I'm hoping I can go back and visit sometime. So just a quick shout out to the folks back in Michigan, and just to remind you back in Michigan how lucky you are to live in such a wonderful state. But getting back to Kildee, Kildee is signaling that he may vote against sending over these articles of impeachment. If that bears out. If that pans out, then that will be 3. That will be what I was speculating on. It will be interesting to see, well, it will be interesting to see well, I'm not going to say interesting, scratch that. I'm going to say highly entertaining, to me anyways, to see how the Democrats and especially the press try to spin that result. Which brings me to the last item I want to talk about today. There has been speculation and actually outright predictions by Republicans and even by some Democrats regarding the famous 31 moderate Democrats who were elected in 2016 in districts that Trump carried, in some cases by double digits. What would happen to them if they voted for the inquiry in the first place, and then if they further voted to send articles of impeachment, which causes me at least to question whether Pelosi will have the votes and whether that will happen. But assuming it does, what would it mean for these 31 moderate Democrats? Well, we're getting our first inkling from what I'm about to show you, a poll regarding the re-election of one of these 31 moderate Democrats, Kendra Horn in Colorado. Let me just put up the table, look at it. As of today, after this impeachment inquiry, before a vote to send over articles of impeachment to the Senate, she trails her Republican opponent by 7 points. So, well, if I were you, Kendra, I would not vote to send over those articles of impeachment, but hey, it's your career. Do what you gotta do. And the rest of you, you don't have to do this, but I would love for you to do it. Thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. Got any comments? Put them in the comment section below. If there's a subject you would like me to talk about or a question you would like me to answer, put that in the comment section too. I'll be perfectly frank, I do not get so many comments these days that I would miss a comment that you put in there. So if you want me to cover something, put it in the comment section. And you could subscribe also. I would love to get some new subscribers. And finally, most of all, I would love for all of you to come back and see me again. Until I do see you all, hopefully again, bye.